Hi guys, I'm Dimension Jumper, today we're doing my top 5 potential bosses to return in Breath of the Wild 2. Now, we know very little about Breath of the Wild 2, the only things we do know is that Gandalf is returning and Zelda having a new haircut, but apart from that, we know absolutely nothing about the game. But with that comes speculation and things that could appear, and this is just going over some potential boss fights that could appear in the game and how they could work within the Breath of the Wild game system technology thing, if you know what I mean. So for number 5 is Gomer. Now I think Gomer is one of those interesting bosses because she has been used throughout the Zelda games. She's been in the original game, she's been in Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, the Wind Waker, and several other Zelda games, and she's really that well known in the games. And I think with Gomer, I think in Breath of the Wild 2 will be quite interesting because of how how her boss fight could go, because it can go in a lot of different ways. Because if she is brought back, it will be cool to see her in this wooded environment, kind of like how the Master Sword was in the Lost Woods, and we could have that boss fight kind of like that with Gomer, and we could have Link fight her throughout a variety of means. Like he could use the area around him as an advantage. Like he could add some fires and just shoot up into the air and hit her in the eye, or her eye could be like Gomer in Twilight Princess could be on her back. Yeah, and he could shoot the eye there, and she could close it at any time she wants and stuff like that. I think that would be quite cool. And also, like in Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, Gomer could summon baby spiders, and they could try and attack Link. And there's a lot of variety of ways of how this boss fight could go. For number 4 is Maldon. Now, I think Maldon would be an interesting boss fight in Breath of the Wild 2, mainly because of how basically Maldon is used in the variety of other games that he's appeared in, and because in the games that he has appeared in, like A Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, he's okay, I think, but the Link Between Worlds Maldon boss fight is a lot better than the one in A Link to the Past. And I think with Breath of the Wild 2, we could see a whole new way Maldon was used. So for the boss room in particular, if Nintendo do bring back boss rooms, I'd like to see Maldon almost the same size as the boss room entirely, not the entire size, but like half the size, kind of like how Maldon was in A Link Between Worlds when you fought Maldon. And I would like to see Link using climbing up the walls and jumping off and trying to hit his tail, Maldon going about the place at a slow speed or a lot of speed, stuff like that. And I would like to see him be more aggressive, like instead of just bumping about the place, him like a lot of the other enemies in Breath of the Wild, he has adapted and just using a lot of new elements, and he's evolved to have more attacks instead of just bombing about the place. For number 3 is King Rodongo. Now I know King Rodongo is a well-known boss and stuff like that, but I think King Rodongo is a really well-known. Well, it would be cool to see him used really well, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because I would like to see King Rodongo in the Eldrin area, and yeah, I think that would be quite an interesting boss fight, because that means you won't be able to use the bomb arrows, because in Breath of the Wild, if you do use the bomb arrows, they'll just explode instantly when you're using them in the Eldrin area. So that would mean you have to use your remote bombs, and you could throw both of them at the same time, or use one, then use the other, then explode them when they're inside King Rodongo's mouth when he's breathing in to do his fireball attack. And I think it'll be for King Rodongo in particular. I think he'll be one of those bosses that you see in the wild, kind of like a Hinox or a Lionel or a Talos. I think that'll be quite cool for King Rodongo because they'll make that boss fight a little more interesting, and there'll be more and the boss room or whatever would be more open, and you can have use a variety of things you can use, so you can try and defeat King Dodongo. For number 2 is the Helmatar King. Now, what I think this boss fight will be a lot like King Dodongo's fight, but instead of being in the Elden region, I think the Helmatar King boss fight will be somewhere either in Hyrule Field itself, or somewhere in like the Hebrew regions, like in the mountains and stuff like that, just so you can have a bit of variety. And I think the Helmatar King will be an interesting choice because it's kind of like King Dodongo, but not really. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how this boss fight plays out, because you could use different elements and like the whole snowy region to your advantage, and and also if they bring back the hammer, it'd be quite cool because you could just try and throw the hammer at the skull mask thing on his head, and it would be quite cool to see how large the Helmatar King would be as a boss. And for number 1 is Dark/Shadow Link. Now, what I like about Shadow Link's boss fights, or mini boss fights that we're playing in Ocarina of Time, is that it's basically Link, and I would like to see this in a sort of shadowy type dungeon, and we get to see Link fighting against his shadow as the boss, and it would be cool to see a Shadow Link using the remote bombs, the stasis, the cryonis, the magnesis, the whatever, against Link, and also him using the champion's abilities like Mephi's Grace, Durik's Protection, Rivali's Gale, British Fury, and just seeing how he uses them against you. And I think Dark Link is just a really cool villain-ish kind of, and it'll be a good challenge against Link before he fights Ganondorf. So yeah, so that's been my top 5 potential boss fights for Breath of the Wild 2. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.